What's good everyone, and welcome back to the channel. After playing through the game's 10-hour or so campaign and dabbling in the Horde mode, I gathered up some informational opinions on my time spent with the game. My overall experience with this title was, I guess you could say, lonely, which fits the theme of Alien, but goes against the constant reminder that you're surrounded by your comrades aboard the Endeavor. But this was never the case during missions. Majority of the time was spent with the lifeless synthetic bots that were not more capable beyond the casual difficulty, which was disappointing if I wanted more of a challenge. A big missed opportunity here is, aboard the Endeavor is about an endless amount of Marines at your disposal. Why are we not able to utilize these nameless Marines on our missions XCOM style? Introduce permadeath and let us have a sense of dread and danger during each mission and care about our squad mates that aren't player controlled. Imagine XCOM-style permadeath squad mates with their own unique abilities and traits like characters from games like Shadow of Mordor. The game already has an extensive progression system. Adding squad mates that improve with each encounter with just as much customization and variation as the player character would always keep you working towards building the perfect unit. The Aliens Infestation game for DS nailed this mechanic perfectly, giving you characters in a squad that once you lost them, they were gone for good. Here, there's no sense of permanence or an overall world that is changing around you or an impact to your war efforts against the hordes of Xenos. I know this is a primarily campaign co-op driven shooter, but an endgame with a meta of some sort would help with the game's longevity and give players something to work toward. I don't know why something like this wasn't explored during development, but with reports of Xenos still at large after the game's main campaign, a post-game war effort with different mechanics and levels with different parameters would keep players playing outside of the Horde mode, challenge cards and higher difficulties while waiting for new content. Cold Iron Studios must have something planned for the future of Fireteam Elite if there was nothing present after completing its main campaign. The game also suffers from a serious matchmaking problem that would kill the game's lifespan before it ever sees its potential within the first 6 months. The driving point of this game was its 3-player size squads to always ensure players had 2 others to play with, whether it be 2 friends or randomly matched up players. 3 players was the initial sweet spot for games, as 4 or more made it apparently difficult to find that many friends to play with, and along with other online players, I'm assuming. So 3 players was the optimal choice, yet it is still impossible to play with other players in most of the campaign levels. And I've only gotten to play with 2 squads in Horde mode since beating the game, and while that was fun, the game unfortunately crashed for me on the Series X, which would be a major problem had I been in the higher waves with a complete loss of progression and time. If it's impossible to find players for campaign or even Horde for that matter, does this spell disaster to the game's matchmaking parameters or the game's population? Players have requested a server browser and a quick play option in hopes to alleviate the problem of having to guess which campaign missions will have players actively seeking a match. Cold Iron Studios have said there are no plans for a quick play or server browser option, so unless they have plans to implement for matchmaking, I guess we can only rely on the looking for group feature on Xbox or meeting up with players on the game's subreddit or Discord page, which does help. Another point I wanted to make on what this game needs to survive is more robust game modes. The game already has you going through levels completing pretty basic objectives and taking down hordes of xenomorphs, and Horde mode has you taking on endless waves. Why do the modes need to stop there? This type of game is ripe for unique game modes in the genre that would serve this game perfectly. Aliens Colonial Marines, while being poorly recepted, has some pretty fun multiplayer game modes that feature 2 teams facing off against each other in each of the modes, Marines versus Aliens. One mode was an escape mode that took players through a level with Xenos and tail trying to stop their escape. This game features lengthy levels that could have enemy Xenomorph players along with AI units chasing down a larger 4 to 5 man fire team, with bigger hordes and more mechanics just to boot. This mode could give you that perfect rush of dopamine from the cat vs mouse dynamic. That's just one of the modes that I have in mind that would greatly improve this game's replayability. Among all of that, I was surprised at the overall lack of mechanics and features throughout the game. Anything that was contextual was part of the objective, but outside of that, there wasn't anything else, especially for the wave-based segments or defensive points of the level. You weren't given very many options outside of placing sentry guns, mines, and other consumables. I would have liked to have seen more environmental defenses. At different objective points, you have to cut a door, Why is it we can't seal or unseal doors if need be to hold off the incoming wave? Sure, the door will not hold forever, but a sense of choice and ease would go a long way. We've seen it in Aliens Colonial Marines and the older AVP2 game, so going into this, I was expecting welding doors shut would be a key feature to holding back some of the horde or strategically routing the enemy. This would be essential in the game's higher difficulty, so if you were to choke off some of the points of attack from the Xenos. Something that was so key was a pretty big missed opportunity here. The game was not designed around this, so I don't know if it's something we could see in the future, but it was something I noticed and had to speak on. What this game does so well already is capturing some of the atmosphere within the levels. The enemy choice is great, although I would have preferred drones and warriors to take front and center as the common enemy over the runners. Throughout the engineer sections of the levels, I was not expecting to see pathogen infected, especially human counterparts. What I was hoping to see were some of the creatures from the Covenant film. The Xeno in that movie is even more terrifying than the usual run-of-the-mill Xenos, plus the Neomorph and Protomorph are some of the things from Nightmares. Once again, DLC is unknown at this point, but it's something they could explore if not in the main campaign, giving us new and interesting terrors. Cold Iron Studios already took a chance adding local wildlife infected by the pathogen into the mix, so I don't think they would be afraid to pull from the latest movie to add to their list of terrors. If the war effort continues, I do see us combating some new foes, alien and human alike. Speaking of foes and enemy aliens, we did not see any proper boss battles in this game, which took me by surprise. If you have beaten the game, which I hope you have if you are watching this video due to all the spoilers I'm giving, but at the end of the game, you come across the alien queen responsible for the station's infestation. But you don't have the firepower equipped to take it down, so you are forced to flee. While that makes sense and all because also the station is under self-destruction, you would think we would be battling it out against the queen herself at the end, if no other proper boss battles were in the game. A game like this usually has boss enemies, if only a few, and I'm not sure why there wouldn't be any to begin with. Yes, there are special variant Xenos, but none of them have been a proper boss battle itself with its own mechanics. One boss per level would have sufficed our appetites for taking down your larger-than-life elite enemies. A lone engineer in the ruins would have caused any Alien or Prometheus fan to lose their mind, with even having the opportunity to take on the mysterious race for the first time ever in a game. Once again, one can hope for the DLC, other than that, it's wishful thinking. I know Cold Iron Studios took their time carefully crafting this game with the help of 20th Century Fox. I don't know a lot of things get cut or downright denied from games, but a little more risk with this one might have been the right call. It plays it safe and does enough with the budget of a $40 game, and it does it quite well. The best things about this game is its ability to capture and expand on the lore only found in comic books and other extended media. I was impressed by the amount of information and lore that the NPCs spoke of, even if they weren't moving their lips. I was eager to hear more about what was going on in the universe, but the story overall is not great by any means, and none of the characters are memorable. But knowing they tried to cement themselves in the universe with all of this is quite comforting to the game. The foundation of this game is great and nails in a simple aspect of what it is going for, but at the end of the day, it does leave a lot to be desired, even if it is a fun time shooting aliens with your friends, or the two synthetics you only seem to get paired up with. I've gone over my overall critical reception of the game and what it needs. I am by no means bashing the game because it does deserve the support and to be played, but it also deserves to be monitored along with the critical concerns and opinions of the players and heavily supported by the devs for the time to come. What do you guys think of the game so far, and have you beaten it? What did you think? What do you look forward to in the future with this game? Are you having fun? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to talk about the game with you guys and see what you think. Thank you for watching, and peace for now.